There's I don't really follow music that well, so
No,
sorry
neither
for
do I.
the ignorance around this, but
They sound like a shoemaking shop or something.
that's so true. Anyway, they're a band, and I think this guy is like the banjo player or something. Josh is probably like ripping out his ears listening to this, but so he is in trouble.
I like the way they have a banjo player. I mean, this is sounding rather traditional.
Yeah, he's in trouble for liking a book. He read a book, he liked it, he said that he liked it, and that's it. That's enough.
My God.
Get up against the wall and
Was it Mein Kampf?
bring in the firing squad. No.
I mean, if it was Mein Kampf, I could actually understand.
Yeah, I mean, if he was reading The Jews and Their Lies and he was like, really important book, guys, or something like this, you'd be like, okay, I can see
Martin
why
Luther
people...
raises some good points. Yeah.
You'd see why people would be like, wow, this seems pretty out of place. But no, the book in question was Andy Knows, which we have on the bookshelf there.
That we've done a book club on.
It's The Unmasked.
Yeah.
Check out the book club. We did an interview with Andy Know. It's great. And the book is just a journalistic documentation of what Antifa believe, what they have done, their theory been put into practice in Chaz, and the results. And he has some inside documentation which everyone should look at.
And Andy went to the Chaz as well, didn't he? So,
Yeah,
I mean,
so-
it was a brave thing for him to do.
The thing that is the most striking is him being well known in Antifa circles. You know, them sending him death threats. They'd come to his house, they'd beat him up, and he was still like, no, I still want to report on, you know, how they act. And he went to the Chaz, an area which law enforcement had already said, we will not come to. If you are in trouble, you will have to leave, and then we'll pick you up. So if you die in there, you're dead. He went undercover, covered himself up, and he ran into someone in there who had previously given him death threats, and then was in the Chaz armed. The person had a firearm, and he was still in there recording and documenting what went on.
And we know that they're on the hunt for him because they kept accosting random Korean-looking men or South Asian-looking men.
God, that's optimistic of their understanding.
Yeah.
They went for anyone with Asian characteristics.
I mean, the video of the guy being like, you think I'm Andy No, don't you? You
Yeah.
racist C-words, you know, like, how dare you? And they're like, well, you just look like him, bro. It's like,
So for
okay.
the crime of actual journalism, going to the scene, risking his own safety
Yeah.
to find out what this organization believes, and then putting it in book form. That's it. That's what it is. It is not Mein Kampf. It is not, you know, a manifesto of talking about how we need to save the white race or anything like this. It's just
That's
journalism.
not what Mein Kampf is. But, like, Mein Kampf is that Germans should rule everything.
Yeah, it's German supremacy.
Yeah, but, like, Andy No, it's not any kind of manifesto. What it is, like you say, a journalistic endeavour.
Yeah. And so Mumford Sons banjo player, Winston Marshall, decided to read this, and he decided to tweet out that it was important. So if we can scroll down, there's the first tweet from him, which is him saying that it's important. So congratulations, Andy No. Finally had the time to read your book. You're a brave man. It's an important book, and he's a brave man. Right.
Well, I mean, what wouldn't a reasonable person sign off on that?
It is important.
You know,
it's the only documentation of Antifa in depth that I've ever seen. That's great.
That's not pro-Antifa as well.
Yeah, I mean, there was a guy in Germany we met who did a few of these, but I can't read German, so sorry about that. But this is the
Maybe
one.
we should clarify in English then. But
Yeah,
also
in
one
the
that's-
Anglosphere.
Or, I mean, you can get pro-Antifa books, which, I mean, no one cares about, apparently.
The Antifa, what is it, the handbook? Or
Yeah, the Antifa handbook, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is just a documentation of what they've done, and it's the best one out there. And him being a brave man, I mean, he did risk his own personal safety to do the reporting.
And has done many times.
So, yeah, that's braver than me. I ain't done anything like that. So, for this, he got massive backlash, they say. And the massive backlash was from leftists who were upset about this. But one of the things I want to keep in mind is just this doesn't seem to have been as big as it's sort of made out. Like, I don't feel like he was actually under immense pressure, except maybe from the other band members, as we'll see in a sec.
Right, okay.
So the first tweet I want to show is some musician who I don't know, again, sorry for the ignorance, and he's saying, the fact that this T-word from Mumford is openly showing his support for continued oppression / fascism / the interest of greed is
What?
almost normal now. It's like, almost normal to say Antifa is bad because they're a bunch of socialist terrorists.
The fact that this guy from Mumford is openly showing his opposition to terrorists, communists, and the interests of destroying Western civilization is almost normal now. Good.
How horrible.
Good.
And then he ends it with it's effed. Nope, this is a good thing. And then the next one I want to show was someone saying that Mumford & Sons are the landlords of rock and roll.
Yeah, but landlord rights, that's what we say.
I know, but it is great because it's actually a little reference there to the fact that, yes, they are communists. They think
Yeah.
landlords are not people and deserve to be killed.
Yeah.
Or, you know, all their property deserves to be stolen.
Yeah. Which is why on this podcast we support landlord rights.
Yes. And then the next one here is just like upset press being very mad about some of the things, some of the...
Jordan Peterson as well.
So this was some heresy he had done before, in which him and the band had taken a picture with Jordan Peterson. If we can scroll down, you can eventually see the picture.
Oh, God.
And it's just them hanging out with
A
Jordan
moderate
Peterson.
Canadian psychologist.
They met a psychologist, and that was it. That was a piece of heresy. So apparently they've been upset with him for a little while, and he buckled. He released a hostage statement in response to this, and it's kind of sad. So he says here, over the past few days, I have come to better understanding the pain caused by the book I endorsed. There is no pain.
What?
I have offended not only a lot of people I don't know, but also those closest to me, including my bandmates, and for that I am truly sorry. As a result of my actions, I am taking time away from the band to examine my blind spots. So, okay, just stop there for a second. Random people on the internet upset, bandmates upset. Well, why are your bandmates upset? Because you said communism bad. I mean, if they're meeting Jordan Peterson as well, I doubt that that's their position. They would have called him a reactionary and hit him or something. So I'm not too inclined to believe that.
2,000 quote tweets on this, though.
Yeah. So, last part here. Oh yeah, also the fact that he's leaving to examine his own thoughts. I mean, it's like a prisoner serving a sentence.
Yeah.
He's literally doing this to himself. For now, please know that I realize how my endorsements have the potential to be viewed as approvals of hatred, divisive behavior. Hateful, divisive behavior. Documenting terrorists. I apologize, as this was not all my intention.
So, I mean, what they're saying is either agree with Antifa or be considered hateful and divisive.
Yeah, and this hostage statement just reads like, I love communism, please don't kill me.
Yeah.
To me. Like,
I will retire myself, therefore you don't have to gulag me.
yeah, but he didn't need to do this. Like, the backlash, from what I've seen, is actually kind of pathetic.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe in his personal life he had something going on, and then, maybe I have more sympathy for this, but I find it hard to believe that especially it's coming from your bandmates who are happy to hang out with Jordan Peterson. And then you just see the numbers here. So there were like 2,000 quote tweets, only 700 likes. There were 9,000 comments on this tweet alone.
Bloody hell.
Of conservatives, centrists, reasonable people, basically saying, "Don't do this. Like this is cringe to watch."
Yeah.
And it didn't help him at all. Like the response to this just carried on from the communists because no hostage statement is ever enough. So let's go to the next one. So this is an opinion journalist for CNN. Otherwise known as Communism Incorporated.
Yeah.
So Andy No is neither conservative nor a journalist.
What?
He's probably best described as a fascist groupie, but okay.
Come on.
In response to him saying that he would be stepping away from the band. I mean, there was no point in apologizing to these people.
But, like, that's just the most wrong description of Andy No that I've ever seen. He's obviously just a regular American conservative. And he obviously is a journalist because, I mean, that was his job before you guys started demonizing him, and no one ever said he's not a journalist then. He writes for the Wall Street Journal, places like this. And suddenly he's now a fascism groupie.
But this columnist for CNN Opinions, like, I bet you've done more journalism.
Right.
Very few people have done as much as Andy has in the last few years.
I like the way he looks like the sort of Kuma face.
Yeah,
the yelling Kuma face. Yeah,
the eternal Kuma. Anyway, but the nice thing about this as well was, at least on my timeline, I could see that basically every British conservative was backing up Andy No here and sort of saying, that's dumb. Like, so the narrative is very much the push from the left here actually is kind of pathetic. Usually it's them overwhelmingly in the spotlight because they're the ones all on Twitter. Everyone else has been banned except tepid people. But this is Kelvin Robertson, a British conservative, saying that he highly recommends Andy No's book, and yeah, I certainly do.
Good.
Because Antifa are fascists.
Yep.
And then the next one here is just Lawrence Fox, doubling down, saying he seconded. And they've got copies of Andy's book.
Excellent.
I think both of them have probably interviewed him or met him for this. And they're right. And Andy made a good response to this as well, this whole drama. I grieve for those who are made to suffer because they dare to read my work or talk to me. The danger of Antifa and their allies is not only their willingness to carry out or support maiming, killing, and terrorism, but also how they close curious minds from independent thought. Great.
Excellent statement.
20,000 likes.
Yeah.
But I like how this is a weird example because this would be simple enough to be like, oh, look, the guy's been cancelled by the far left who are hating him. But I don't see the pressure there. I can't actually envision what pressure was on him from the online discourse, in which case I can only assume it's coming from maybe his girlfriend or something like this.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting how the left hate Andy No beyond anything, but Andy No is so credible on this subject that none of the Conservatives go against him, right? So there's never any kind of mutual agreement that Andy No is actually evil and therefore, right? And so it always just seems that they're just shouting at a wall and just throwing everything they can, and it becomes hysterical. Fascist groupie. What the?
Yeah, I mean, this is a point. So Tarkon made a response to this, and I absolutely agree with him, as the point I made earlier, which is their worldview, Antifa, is just built on endless lies, and the left have openly accepted them, at least over the last 20 years.
Yes.
I mean, they used to be absolutely...
CNN have been defending them.
The Guardian used to demand that they should be arrested back in 2009, and now they openly defend them. Yeah. This has seeped into modern left-wing thought and has destroyed their movement, in my view. It has made them so laughable, it's absurd. Yeah. I mean, openly simping for communist terrorists in the West. And Andy No is the man who looks at that wall of lies and says, right, that's wrong. Here's the journalistic evidence to show it. Mm-hmm. Here's their insider documents saying that they openly know that they're liars. They openly know that they're committing terrorism. Mm-hmm. They openly say we want the destruction of the United States because it's Western liberalism. Mm-hmm. And they can't have
Liberals get the bullets too.
Exactly, right? So and they can't have this because they're having their entire mountain of lies exposed. So they try and silence Andy, but it's never going to work because he's just sat on a mountain of truth. There's no amount of lying that will take that down. And it's cringe to see the guy from Mumford Sons.
Well, this is why they have to attack him constantly, physically attack him.
Yeah, but it's cringe to see because the strength, I think, culturally is exactly on Andy's side now. I mean, maybe 5 years ago, this was definitely on Antifa's side. They were practically untouchable, only anti-fascist. But I mean, after the year of riots we've had especially, there is no public sympathy for such things. In which case, I just view it as the guy cancelling himself.
Yeah. I mean, even Black Lives Matter are turning on Antifa, going, look, it's the white kids that are the problem.
Yeah, that's an amazing clip.
I mean,
I probably won't be able to find it, but basically there's a really cool clip of some Black Lives Matter people shouting in the early days before it became openly known as Marxists, so I imagine a lot of people there were just sympathetic. Yeah. And then there's this white kid in a balaclava all covered up in black bloc smashing up the floor to bring chunks of rock out to throw at the police. Yeah. And three black guys just turn around and look at him and go, it's the goddamn white people. And they grab him, throw him over to the police and just arrest that guy. And they do. And it's great. Because I'm just like, yep, okay, that's good.
Antifa brings solidarity between the cops and Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, just get rid of the communist terrorists. It's okay, good. Because you can tell those were actual just normal guys. Yeah, and not the radical Marxists who run the BLM organization.
People who actually have probably genuine concerns about police and things like this. But yeah, excellent. Well, I mean, that's... apart from the guy self-cancelling, at least, I don't feel that things are going terribly at the moment.
No, that's a good shot in the culture war, I think, of actually seeing that, no, there is no weight on the Antifa side anymore. Yeah. I don't think the 2020s should be considered an era in which that exists. They're dead, culturally. I mean, everyone hates them.
If you enjoyed this segment from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can watch the full broadcast live every weekday at 1 p.m. UK time on lotuseaters.com.